Hello, welcome to my sketchbook. Alright, so before we get started, I wanted to show a couple sketches that I did in a separate sketchbook. It's always nice to kind of do a rough drawing before you kind of start painting anything, even though this is a sketchbook technically. This one's just for painting and getting better at painting without having to use a canvas or canvas board and then having to store it somehow. I just figured it's a lot easier to keep my little trial paintings in this little sketchbook here. I'm just gonna do a really rough sketch just to get the placement of everything. I've already kind of configured like where I want stuff to go in my other sketchbook, but before I start painting and realize that oops, I put the tree a little too far right or a little too far left, I just kind of scribbled out a layout for myself just to kind of give myself a nice guideline to go off of. I'm using Golden Open acrylics. They're a slow drying acrylic, and I've just really enjoyed using them. They're literally my favorite acrylic to use so far. I take a long time to mix my colors. I take a long time deciding what to do. So if I use regular like student grade acrylics, a lot of times they dry up so fast that I have to remix and remix my colors, or I have to spray them constantly with water or use too much water really to keep them wet, to keep them from drying up. And they're really just frustrating for me because I'm a slower painter. This is a liner brush. It's really great for really thin branches or tall grass. It does take some practice and getting used to using, but once you get the hang of it, it's an awesome brush to use. Something I think I'll do in the future is do a whole sketchbook spread of nothing but buildings. I have a really hard time with perspective still. It's funny because I thought I would have the most trouble doing like animals or people or faces, but for whatever reason, I'm terrible with perspective on buildings. And even the stairs leading up to the treehouse look flat. They look like you're looking down at the stairs instead of looking at them straight on or kind of at an upward angle. So it's just kind of tricky to get used to the angles of how you're seeing a building or objects like that. So this tree house never really gets right. I try to fix it a few times. The way that it ends up being is fine, but I definitely need some work on my perspective. So the stones that I'm about to paint here in a second that are hanging off of this tree are really the reason I wanted to paint this in the first place. It's one of those weird inspirational things that just hit me, and I was like, I want to paint some stones, and maybe they could be hanging from something like a tree, and maybe the tree is in like this magical forest land where maybe there's a tree house in the background. So inspiration comes from everywhere and anything. So if you ever just get an itch to draw something or paint something, even if it's something simple like stones, just start sketching and you'll never know what you might come up with.